first 10 picks go to the teams that had those choices. Pick 11 hits, and then Trade-a-Palooza starts with the Saints going up to get Chris Olave. Were you concerned when the Saints did that they'd go and get Jameson Williams? Walk me through that moment of the draft for you.
Yeah, that did cross my mind when the trade first happened. When the Saints moved up, we were pretty much set. We had already had dialogue with Kwesi in Minnesota, and I said, look, I'm still waiting and see what happens here. But when the trade first happened with New Orleans, I crossed my mind. I was like, oh, man, because I heard a lot that they had some interest in Jameson throughout the process, and we have all that stuff that we look at. But I was looking back at it, too, and, same reasons that I went through the process that I went through with Jameson. I said, well, do they need somebody that can contribute right away? And, whatever, timeline it is with Jameson, that's what kind of made me step back. And I said, well, maybe they might not go that route, and they may need more immediate day one. And so that's what kind of gave me a little bit of, that may give me a little bit more comfort. And but sure enough, they went Chris, and we were just ecstatic to get Jameson.
Did you try to pop into the top 10 to kind of lock in on that, or no? Right.
Yeah, well, I did make calls up there, obviously before, just to kind of see what teams' willingness was, because you just never know. Even with the agreement we had in place with Minnesota, it's still contingent on, you don't know if Minnesota could have a guy there that's like, no, we're not moving, and we're picking. So you kind of have to spread it around a little bit, and so we contact teams up there in the top 10, but obviously it worked out with Minnesota.
So then what's your evaluation? What was your evaluation of Jameson Williams and his knee to make you feel comfortable going up 20 spots? I mean, 20 whole spots to go grab him 12th overall, Brad.
Yeah, with Jameson, it was a really interesting process because we looked at him, obviously during the season, and the scouts, had high praise for him, and I had a good feel about him as a player. But when the injury happened, I'll self-admit that I put him in a box because I've always been a little bit, hesitant on, the guys that are projected to go really high to have that skill set that can be, a top-notch or game-changing kind of player. But, he had this ACL injury. And so I kind of had him from the time he got the injury all the way through, February and through March. I kind of had him in a separate box of his own. And I will never forget, I had a long kind of talk with myself. And I spent one Sunday, I was like, you know what, I'm actually going to take him out of this box. And I said, look, man, I gotta just put him on the same even playing field. And it actually reminded me of, I remember when Steve Keim with the Cardinals, I remember when he made a comment about when he drafted Kyler Murray. And, they had just invested the first-round pick in Rosen before. And I remember he made this comment about, I was scared to watch the tape. Or he said something along the lines of, I didn't want to watch the tape, because I didn't want to fall in love. And that's kind of, that Sunday probably was about, 2 or 3 Sundays before the draft. That's kind of what my feeling was when I took Jameson out of that box. And I put him on the same level of the Ohio State kids and Drake London and all that. And when I took him out of that box, that's when I was like, whoa, this guy really, he was such a fit, and he was just clearing away the best fit as a potential game changer. And he just fit so many things of what Dan and myself are looking for. And that's when it kind of came very, very clear to me. Is like, let's go and get this guy.
Well, I'm sure you didn't go to WebMD to get your medical advice on him. So what's your 2 cents on when you're going to see him and how his knee is, Brad?
Yeah. So, obviously we had a lot of deep internal discussions before the draft with our doctors and our medical staff. And we felt very, very comfortable taking him. And, we're not going to put a specific timetable just out of respect of our process and the plan that we have in place. But we feel very comfortable and confident in terms of where we think that he might be available. What I love about Jameson is he loves football. I mean, he's so passionate about the game, and he's chomping at the bit to get out there as soon as possible. But we do have a plan in place. We're going to stick to it, and the last thing we're going to do is just rush a player out there before he's ready.
So you're not going to tell me, is what you're telling me, Brad? You're not going to tell me? Okay.
Probably is about the best way to
Okay,
say it.
Understood. How about this year? We expect to see him in 2022? You have that level of expectation, just at least that?
Yeah, I think it's. I would think that yes. I would feel comfortable saying that. I do expect to see him at some point.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here